Ladies and gentlemen, life doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for effort. It doesn't demand that you know everything, it simply asks that you try. Because trying is the difference between staying where you are and discovering where you could go. We all have obstacles, we all have fears, we all face setbacks, but none of these are valid reasons to give up before we've even begun. The truth is, there is no excuse for not trying, not if you want to grow, not if you want to become more, not if you want to live without regret. We live in a world obsessed with perfection. From social media to success stories, we're constantly bombarded with polished highlights that make us believe anything less than flawless is failure. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. It's a moving target that keeps people stuck in fear. What truly matters is the effort we put in day by day, step by step. Effort is the real sign of courage. It means showing up even when you're not sure you'll get it right. It means trying even when the outcome is uncertain. Perfection waits for ideal conditions. Effort pushes through despite the chaos, despite the doubt, despite the flaws. And that's what separates the people who grow from those who stay the same. When you focus on perfection, you hesitate, you second guess, you procrastinate. But when you focus on effort, you take action. You move, you learn. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every stumble becomes part of the journey. Effort leads to experience, and experience leads to excellence. But it all starts with the willingness to try without waiting to be perfect. People often delay their dreams, waiting for the right moment or the right skills. But growth doesn't happen in waiting, it happens in the trying. You become better by doing, not by planning endlessly or comparing yourself to others. Perfection demands results before the process. Effort embraces the process and trusts that the results will come. Effort is honest. It's raw. It doesn't pretend to have it all figured out. It simply says, I'm here and I'm willing. That kind of mindset is powerful. It builds resilience. It builds character. It keeps you grounded and focused even when you fall short of your expectations. And more often than not, people respect genuine effort more than they admire distant perfection. If you look closely, the people who make a lasting impact aren't perfect, they're persistent. They kept going when it was messy. They kept pushing when no one was watching. Their strength wasn't in having all the answers, but in their refusal to quit trying. That's the kind of legacy. Effort builds something real, something earned. Effort also frees you from the pressure of being flawless. It allows you to make progress on your own terms. When perfection is the goal, one mistake feels like the end. But when effort is the goal, each mistake is just another part of the path. That shift in mindset can be the difference between burnout and breakthrough. At the end of the day, it's your effort that defines you, not how perfect you were, but how present, how committed, and how willing you were to give your best. Perfection may impress for a moment, but effort inspires for a lifetime. Obstacles are a part of every journey. No one gets through life without facing resistance. Whether it's lack of resources, emotional pain, failure, or rejection, these challenges are universal. But what separates those who move forward from those who stay stuck is the decision to treat obstacles as lessons, not as excuses. Too often, people use their hardships as a reason to stay idle. They say, I would have, but, or I could have. If only, and Vipan may be valid. The truth is that truth doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Life doesn't stop throwing punches just because you're already down. If you want to grow, you have to rise anyway. Your story might be filled with real challenges, but that doesn't give you a free pass to stop trying. In fact, it gives you a reason to fight harder. Every obstacle is an invitation to level up, to grow stronger, wiser, more determined. You weren't given your challenges by accident. They're part of the strength you're meant to build. Obstacles don't mean you're not capable, they mean you're being tested. They're proof that you're in motion, that you're aiming higher. The road to your goals will never be smooth, and that's exactly why it's worth traveling. If it were easy, everyone would do it. But you've got the opportunity to do something different, to push through. The mind loves comfort. It will try to convince you that the obstacles you face are signals to stop. But they're not. They're signals to adapt, to shift, to dig deeper. Every excuse you make feeds fear. But every step you take, no matter how small, feeds strength. And the more strength you build, the more unstoppable you become. History is full of people who had every reason to quit and didn't. People who were told you're not enough, you'll never make it, you don't have what it takes. But they didn't let the odds define them. They let their effort define them. And because of that, they rose. That same fire lives in you. You just have to choose to light it. Obstacles will slow you down, yes. They might break your routine. They might even break your heart. But they don't have the power to break your spirit unless you hand it over. You always have the choice to keep moving. Even if it's slower. Even if it's painful. Forward is forward. So the next time you face an obstacle, remember it's not a wall, it's a test. It's not the end, it's a challenge. Don't let it become your excuse. Let it become your reason. Let it become the fuel that drives you towards something greater. Trying isn't just an action, it's a mindset. It's a declaration that says, I'm not staying where I am. When you try, you open the door to growth. You give yourself permission to learn, to evolve, and to become someone stronger than you were yesterday. Every effort, no matter how small, stretches your capacity and moves you forward. Growth never happens in comfort zones. It happens in the discomfort effort, in the friction of failure, in the awkwardness of being a beginner. Trying puts you in those places where real transformation begins. It's not glamorous. It's not always pretty, but it's real. And real growth is born in those moments where you keep going despite uncertainty. When you try, you begin to see what you're capable of. You discover that you're stronger than you thought, more resilient than you imagined, and far more creative than you gave yourself credit for. You might stumble. You might fall. But with each attempt, you gain experience, and with experience comes wisdom. People often think they need to feel confident before they try. But confidence isn't the starting point, it's the result. You build confidence by trying, by learning, by failing, and by trying again. Growth is the reward for your effort, and it shows up not just in your results, but in who you become along the way. Trying also teaches you discipline. It teaches you patience. It shows you that progress is often quiet and slow but consistent. Each day you choose to show up, even when it's hard, is a win. Each attempt adds another layer to your strength. That's how growth happens, gradually but powerfully. You may not see change overnight, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Just like a seed doesn't sprout the moment it's planted, your efforts take time to take root. But rest assured, every time you try, you're watering your growth. You're building momentum, even if it's invisible in the moment. Trying keeps your spirit alive. It keeps your dreams alive. It's easy to stop caring when nothing seems to change, but when you try, you're proving that you still believe in something more. That belief becomes your fire. It keeps you reaching, searching, and becoming. And that hunger for growth, that's what shapes champions. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to try. Because with every attempt, you're shedding old limitations and stepping into the next version of yourself. That's the power of trying. It's not just about doing something. It's about becoming someone. We've been taught to fear failure. From an early age, we're conditioned to believe that failure means we're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. But that's a lie. Failure isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It's the sharp edge that carves character, the pressure that forms resilience, and the spark that ignites growth. Failure means you tried. It means you stepped into the arena and gave it a shot. It means you were brave enough to take a risk, to challenge the norm, to go after something that mattered to you. That alone is powerful. You can't fail unless you're moving forward, unless you're doing something. Stagnation, on the other hand, is what truly robs people of their potential. It looks safe, but it's deadly. It disguises itself as comfort, but it's really fear in disguise. When you avoid taking risks, when you avoid trying because you fear failure, you're choosing stay stuck. You're choosing a quiet kind of defeat. The real tragedy isn't falling short, it's never starting. It's sitting still while your dreams drift further away. It's waking up years later with regret, wondering what could have been if you'd only had the courage to try, to fall, to get up again. That's what stagnation does. It steals your future while making you feel temporarily safe. Every successful person you admire has failed probably more times than you know. The difference is they didn't stop. They learned. They adjusted. They used failure as a tool, not a tombstone. And each time they failed, they grew stronger, smarter, and more determined. Failure didn't break them, it built them. When you stop seeing failure as final, everything changes. You begin to realize that falling isn't the end, it's just part of the process. You become less afraid of mistakes and more focused on momentum. Progress isn't always smooth, but it's always worth it. And the only way to guarantee failure is to never try at all. In a world that glorifies perfection and instant success, it's easy to forget that mastery comes from trial and error. You have to be willing to fall to learn how to rise. You have to be willing to fail in order to succeed. It's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about outgrowing them. So when you fail, don't see it as the end. See it as a step, a redirection, a new beginning. Because the real enemy isn't failure, staying stuck, never moving, never growing, and never daring to become more. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is, I'll start when I'm ready. But the truth is, you may never feel fully ready. And that's okay. Readiness is a feeling that often comes after action, not before. If you wait until everything feels perfect, you'll stay stuck in place watching life pass you by. Readiness is a moving target. The more you learn, the more you realize you still don't know. That gap between where you are and where you think you need to be can paralyze you unless you break free from the illusion that you need to have it all figured out. You don't. You just need to begin. Every expert was once a beginner. Every confident person once felt insecure. What changed them wasn't waiting, it was doing. They stepped out while they were uncertain. They moved forward even when they had doubts. They didn't wait to feel ready, they became ready by taking action. The longer you wait to feel ready, the more opportunities slip through your fingers. Doors that were open begin to close. Ideas start to fade. Momentum gets lost. And worst of all, your belief in yourself starts to weaken. You start convincing yourself that maybe you weren't meant for more. But deep down, you know that's not true. When you take action before you feel ready, you tap into something powerful, courage. You prove to yourself that fear doesn't control you, that doubt doesn't get the final say. And with each bold step, your confidence grows not because you had all the answers, but because you were willing to move anyway. Some of the most meaningful moments in life come from uncertain beginnings. The best opportunities won't always come wrapped in certainty or comfort. Sometimes they arrive disguised as fear, wrapped in risk and delivered in discomfort. And still those moments are often the ones that change everything. Starting scared is still starting. Starting unsure is still starting. And that first shaky step might be the most important one you ever take. Because once you prove to yourself that you can move without feeling ready, the rest of the journey gets a little easier. You stop waiting, you start building. You don't have to be fearless, you just have to be brave enough to begin. I don't wait for the perfect timing. Don't wait for total clarity. Don't wait for permission. Start now. Start where you are. Start messy, start nervous, but start. Because readiness will meet you on the road, not at the starting line. Excuses feel harmless on the surface. They sound logical. They sound reasonable. I'm too tired. I don't have enough time. I'm not ready yet. But beneath those words is often something deeper, fear. And that fear hides itself behind comfort, convincing you to settle for less than you're capable of. When we make excuses, we're not just avoiding effort, we're avoiding discomfort. We stay in the familiar because it feels safe even when it's unfulfilling. But comfort zones aren't where growth lives. They're where potential goes to sleep. Excuses keep us stuck in routines that no longer serve us. It's easy to rationalize not doing the work. It's easy to say maybe later, or what if I fail? But excuses are like chains that tie you to your current situation. They don't just delay progress, they deny it. And every time you believe an excuse, you feed the part of yourself that's afraid to grow. The danger with excuses is that they sound justifiable. They give you an easy out. They offer protection from failure, rejection, and judgment. But they also protect you from success, from opportunity, from breakthrough. Excuses are the soft prison we build when we're scared to face the unknown. Your dreams are bigger than your excuses. Deep down, you know that. You feel a pull to rise, to reach, to become. But excuses whisper that it's not the right time, that you're not the right person, that you'll try someday. And if you're not careful, someday becomes never. It's not that people lack time or talent, it's that they let excuses drive their decisions. They let short-term comfort outweigh long-term gain. But the moment you recognize your excuses for what they are, a fear of discomfort, you can take back control. You can stop letting fear speak louder than your purpose. Every time you silence an excuse, you reclaim your power. You take a step beyond the comfort zone and into the stretch zone, the place where growth happens. It may not feel good at first. It may feel scary, awkward, or even painful. But it's where change becomes possible. The life you want is on the other side of your excuses. And the only way to get there is to stop giving them permission to lead. They will always be there waiting for you to retreat. But now you know the truth. Excuses aren't real limits. They're just comfort zones in disguise. Every person is born with potential gifts, ideas, talents, and dreams waiting to be awakened. But potential means nothing if it's never acted on. Trying is how we honor the possibilities inside of us. It's how we say, I believe there's more in me, and I'm willing to find out what that is. Trying is a form of self-respect. It shows that you see value in your own life, that you're not okay with staying stuck, not because you hate where you are, but because you believe you're capable of more. When you try, you affirm that your time, energy, and growth matter. You treat your potential like it's worth pursuing. There's a silent power in choosing to try when you could settle. So many people let their talents go unused, their passions untapped, because they're waiting for a guarantee. But trying is brave because it has no guarantees. It's a leap into the unknown, fueled by the hope that something greater lies on the other side. Your potential was never meant to sit dormant. It's meant to be activated, explored, stretched. You were designed for more than repetition and routine. You were built to grow, to rise, to evolve, and the only way to discover how far you can go is to step out and try. No one else can fully see what's inside of you, but you can feel it. You feel the tug in your heart when you imagine more. You feel the pull when you see someone doing something you know you're capable of too. That inner fire. That quiet voice that says you can. That's your potential begging you to try. Every time you act on that feeling, no matter how small the step, you awaken more of who you truly are. You begin to uncover strength you didn't know you had. Ideas you didn't know were there. Possibilities you never thought were real. That's what trying does. It unlocks the hidden corners of your identity. Trying is a declaration: I am not going to waste what I've been given. It's a refusal to let fear or laziness dictate the story of your life. It's choosing growth over regret. Because while failure stings, regret lasts longer, and nothing haunts us more than the chances we never took. You don't have to prove anything to the world, but you do owe it to yourself to see what's possible. When you try, you honor the dreams planted in you. You honor the person you're becoming. You honor your potential not by keeping it safe, but by giving it a chance to shine. Progress isn't always loud. It isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's slow. But every single step you take matters, even when no one sees it, even when it feels small. Every step forward, no matter how tiny, is a vote for your growth, your purpose, and your future. We tend to celebrate the big wins and overlook the little ones. But the truth is, success is made of small, consistent actions repeated over time. It's not built in one day of greatness. It's built in the decision to keep going when it would have been easier to quit. Every step counts because every step is part of the journey. You may not be where you want to be yet, but you're not where you used to be, and that matters. That progress, that climb, that quiet discipline you keep showing up with, it's shaping you. You don't have to make a giant leap every day. Just don't stop stepping. Don't stop moving. Each step forward compounds over time. There will be days when your steps feel like inches instead of miles. Days when it feels like nothing is changing. But trust this, motion is still motion. Growth doesn't always show up in the mirror right away. Sometimes it's internal. Sometimes it's the mindset shift, the new boundary, the decision to try again. That counts too. Your journey is uniquely yours, and it's not a race. You're not competing with anyone else. It doesn't matter how fast someone else seems to be moving. What matters is that you're moving in your direction, at your pace, for your reasons. Honor that. Trust that. When you look back later, you'll realize it was the smallest, most consistent steps that made the biggest difference. Waking up and choosing to try, showing up on the hard days, believing in yourself just enough to keep going. Those aren't small things. They're the foundation of transformation. Sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for the steps we take because we're too focused on how far we still have to go. But don't overlook how far you've come. Every single step is part of the breakthrough, the momentum, the shift. Progress is rarely all at once. It's built one step at a time. So keep stepping, keep building, keep moving forward even when it's slow, even when it's hard. Because those steps, no matter how small, are stacking up into something powerful, something real, something lasting. And in the end, it's those steps that shape the story of your strength. So now you've seen it. Every excuse we hold on to is just a wall we've built between where we are and where we're meant to be. The truth is, trying isn't about being perfect, being ready, or being fearless. It's about choosing not to quit. It's about honoring what's inside you and saying, I may not have all the answers, but I have the courage to show up. You're not weak for struggling. You're not behind because you haven't figured it all out. What matters is that you keep showing up. You keep putting one foot in front of the other. You keep giving yourself permission to grow, to fall, to learn, and to rise again. There will always be reasons not to try. There will always be distractions, doubts, fears, and delays. But your purpose is louder than your fear. Your calling is greater than your excuses. And your potential is waiting on the other side of your willingness to start. Don't waste another moment waiting for a perfect time that doesn't exist. And don't let comfort talk you out of your calling. Don't let fear rob you of a future that could have been yours. You were made for more, and it begins with one decision: try. No more excuses. No more waiting. No more playing small. Try even when it's hard. Try even when you're scared. Try because your life, your dreams, your purpose, they deserve that much. This is your moment. This is your time. And there is no excuse for not trying.